One of the few good things to come out of this referendum is that it has put the spotlight well and truly on Aboriginal welfare, which has been a troubling phenomenon to Australians for generations. Now, James, giving them money, giving our Indigenous brothers and sisters money and land has not worked out too well, and we've been doing it for decades. What else do you think we might try?
Well, the guy who seems to have put a lot of time into this and knows a fair bit is Gary Johns. And as he points out, the 75–80% of Aboriginal people who live in the urban areas, their social statistics are pretty good. They're not as good as Caucasians, but they're close. It's the 20 to 25% who live in the middle of nowhere, Australia. And when you think about it, how do you improve the lot of people when there's no employment around? You're just getting mailed a welfare check. To some extent, all the native title effectively is group ownership. You know, group ownership doesn't work in a modern capitalist economy. You have a set of incentives, and if you work hard and you have to distribute it with every other person, you know, it doesn't really lend itself to a modern economic approach to life. So I think they've got a lot of things they could fix up. Obviously, you want a safety net. But equally obviously, just throwing money at things and giving people welfare. I like the idea of a full audit. Where does the money go? This whole voice thing was brought to you by the activist university class. I don't see any reason why we should be listening to them. Well,
that's what I was going to lead to, actually. I mean, it's easy for us to be triumphant this Monday after such a thumping win on a Saturday election.
Well, you know what, Fred? It is easy.
Well, yeah. Well, you're hungover for one.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I mean, the point is that this is only one small win in the battle. I mean, the bigger battle, as you alluded to, is the education system. Racial politics is so deeply embedded in our education system, from kindergarten right through to university. Weeding it out, and I mean, it's essentially Marxism. Weeding that out needs to be done. I mean, we can't sit back and go, oh yeah, we won the referendum, you know, so job done. There's actually a much bigger job at hand, isn't there?
Well, I agree. I mean, it's true that Aboriginal education is some of the lowest in Australia, but you have to remember, put this in context. The Australian standards of education, the international testing comparison, we're below Kazakhstan and falling. We have given more and more money to the union-dominated education system, and we do worse and worse. Class size after a certain period does not correlate with results. You know, Korea, Singapore, they have large classes, perfect discipline, right? They have old-fashioned methods. You're not there to explore the feelings of the student. You can't be creative until you know stuff. And we do badly in math. So basically, I think actually to criticize the coalition, going to a national curriculum was a mistake. The sort of centralizing tendency, and this was a John Howard problem with work choices in the education. Why would you want one school curriculum for the whole country? Well, the normal answer is, if you believe that government gets things right, then you would have just one. If you think governments screw it up as often as they get it right, this is the argument for federalism, you want 6, 7 school curricula, and we can see the worst ones, and there's a little bit of competition, and people copy. You know, the U.S. has 50 states. Some states delegate it down to the county level. There are hundreds of school curricula. Some are really good. Same in Canada. Alberta has a really good school system in Canada. Ontario and Quebec, not very good. And so this desire to centralize, it always presupposes a strong belief in the capability of government. I do not hold that belief. I think national standards, national curriculum, the whole attack on federalism has been a disaster. It's been partly driven by the central government. It's been partly driven by our top judges, the most centralizing judges in the sort of democratic world, the Australian High Court.
Yeah, a lot of people have been, talking about our precious Constitution over the past few months, but what they fail to realise is the Constitution is essentially just an agreement between the states.
Yes.
It's not an argument for centralisation of power, especially in Indigenous affairs, I'd argue, but certainly, Australians should have a choice of, look, I'm going to go and live in Queensland because, they have a better education system up there, or they have better industrial relations.
Or lower taxes or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So, the tendency towards federalism or centralisation is something that Australians just think is natural, but it's absolutely not.